The globalization, it is a set of different aspects such as economy, politics, art, society, technology, etc. that make up a huge world where everything is connected and beyond barriers, border, ethnic, religion, and beliefs, we all have one thing in common: go further. Trade is an economic activity of the tertiary sector that is based on the exchange and transportation of goods and services between different people or nations. The term is also referred to the set of mechanisms of a country or an area, or to the establishment or place where products are bought and sold. The globalization, it is a set of different aspects such as economy, politics, art, society, technology, etc. that make up a huge world where everything is connected and beyond barriers, border, ethnic, religion, and beliefs, we all have one thing in common: go further. Trade is an economic activity of the tertiary sector that is based on the exchange and transportation of goods and services between different people or nations. The term is also referred to the set of mechanisms of a country or an area, or to the establishment or place where products are bought and sold. The digital revolution refers to the advancement of technology from along electronic and mechanical devices to the digital technology available today. The era started during The digital revolution refers to the advancement of technology from along electronic and mechanical devices to the digital technology available today. The era started during the 1980s and is ongoing. The digital revolution also marks the beginning of the information era. The digital revolution is sometimes also called the third industrial revolution. The digital revolution refers to the advancement of technology from analog electronic and mechanical devices to the digital technology available today. The era started during the 1980s and it is ongoing. The digital revolution also marks the beginning of the information era. The digital revolution is sometimes also called the third industrial revolution. Terrorism is not an ideology like communism or capitalism. Rather, terrorism is a tactic, a strategy used to achieve a specific end. This strategy is often used in a systematic power struggles when a weak person or group is fighting against a powerful nation state. The violence is aimed at creating fear in target population and often provokes prompt and violent response from the state. Acts of terrorism followed by violent crackdowns can become a cycle that is difficult to disrupt. Globalization is making our country to be small look very tiny, but at the same time expanded. The protectionism that now, for example, allows agricultural products to not pay taxes when they enter to USA. A monetary system is not stable. Anytime there would be problems depending on what depends in New York or Frankfurt. Technology and the growing exchange of technology that also goes to terrorists and to the Americans as the largest market and as first-hand consumers. The good. Techniques and personnel have been updated through some universities and polytechnics. Cultural exchange with much influence of America power, data-related labor. Food aid to for poor communities availed with conditions. Political conflicts become global, the strike to dismiss. Democracy is becoming global because they believe the capitalism would flourish, and the bad. Dependence of the capitalist countries for aid to the Third World, World Bank, the Monetary Fund. The economy of the Ecuadorians is only an appendix since the decisions are taken by multinationals. The opening of markets makes capitalist countries flood with products of good quality to countries like ours. Brazil is sold cheaper software by Microsoft. Very bad working conditions compared to those in USA. The maquilas in El Salvador, for example. Attack against the environment such as the Texas case in eastern Ecuador. Usability of technology in a medium where there is no infrastructure. Fiber optic fiber network in Ecuador, for example. Profit leakage because generally the profits that are produced with national work are sent to foreign banks. In order to clarify the forms of globalization and its social effects, We will examine the main trends of institutional information, the expansion of liberal democracy, the domain exercised by market forces, the tertialization of the economy, the integration of the global economy, the transformation of the product system and labor markets, the speed of technological change, the revolution in mass media and consumerism. The WTO is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations. At its heart are the WTO agreements negotiated and signed by the bulk of the world's trading nations and ratified in their parliaments. The goal is to help producers of goods and services, exporters and importers conduct their business. The rules negotiations. WTO members agreed to the Doha Ministerial Conference to launch negotiations in the area of WTO rules. These negotiations relate to the following subject of matter: the agreement on implementation of the Article 6 of GATT 1994, between known as the Anti-Dumping Agreement, the agreement on subsidies and countervailing measures, and discussed WTO disciplines and Fisheries subsets and WTO provisions applying to the regional trade agreements. The creation of the World Trade Organization was on January 1st, 1995, meant the largest reform of international trade since the Second World War. It also made reality in an updated form the failed attempt made in 1948 to create the International Trade Organization in 1948. The World Trade Organization are confirmed by 160 members since July 29 on 2016, with dates of World Trade Organization membership. The importance of the World Trade Organization is: the World Trade Organization plays an important role on the trade section, and as there is an international organization that helps consumers and producers to get what you pay for in a fair way. The most important in all around the world is to maintain the control in every situation, and if trade would not have any control, there would be chaos about money, goods, products, etc. That is why World Trade Organization is too important for all the trademarks all over the world to have a better understanding of what you pay for and what you receive. It is important to mention that if we do not lose the control systematically, we are on the other side. It is a fact that new technologies and their rapid growth have brought numerous advantages. For example, internet connection with a bandwidth more than acceptable from any point, devices that are smaller and make our lives easier, contact and call with people on the other side of the planet and for free. From the medical point of view, it is possible to consult, diagnose, and even operate remotely. Elimination of borders. Now knowing the news of the world in real time as they are generated is a fact. And even without money to travel, we can travel and know cultures from any part of the planet. Be experts of any subject. Thanks to the internet and websites like Wikipedia, we have access to an infinite source of information at any time. They're real specialists in generating impressive virtual libraries, saving and ordering articles that they find interesting. Generation of intelligence. For a few months, the terms big data and business intelligence are very fashionable. This applies to the vast amount of data that the internet generates, but the generation of collective intelligence is possible and real, and very long, etc. But there are also some disadvantages or risks. To begin with, the enormous need to always be on. Only 10 years ago, we could go on a trip without the phone and nothing happened. Now we are unable to go out to dinner with our partner without looking every 5 minutes if someone has sent us a WhatsApp. And if by chance we forget the phone, we feel naked. The trend is that more and more we read the assimilated audiovisual content, images or videos, even micro videos of 5 seconds. But if you send us a text or article more or less long, hopefully we will keep it in the favorites, but most likely we do not get to read it. The personalization social networks allow us to maintain real contact with hundreds of friends from anywhere in the world. But that contact is increasingly impersonal. Without going any further, before when it was the birthday of a friend, we called him on the phone. Now we think that a social message is enough. Surely, unfortunately, there is more than one who maintains an excellent social relationship but is more unable to talk face to face with his interlocutor. Privacy. Many times the lack of privacy is due to the support itself, many others to the misuse of it. Basically, just as we do not do growth the street teaching summer photos of our children to any of us on the street, why on social networks do we upload photos at our discretion without checking the privacy policies of the channel? Anti-expertus. We rely more on what we read on the internet, whoever is sender of the messages, and without checking the source that we read in any other medium. There are few hoaxes or false news that have been viralized in a few seconds on the internet. These also do special damage on health-related issues. We are living a very difficult period. The terrorism is threatening the society and cultures on a global scale, and differently from the past, it has reached a global dimension. We are facing a global alert. Intelligence and law enforcement agencies worldwide are warning about possible terrorist attacks in the major cities. Barji, Istanbul are last locations in order of time where the terrorist threat has demonstrated its strength, where terrorists have hit the defenseless populations with a military strategy. The modern terrorism is instantaneous and unpredictable, a global threat that hits its targets but at the same time hits a wide audience thanks to the technology. It is bringing the terror into our homes. The cyberspace is an environment where boundaries and privilege place, where terrorists find resources, make propaganda activities, and from which it is possible to launch the attacks against enemies everywhere in the world. Social media is an essential element of modern terrorism. These powerful platforms allow terrorists to communicate, to make propaganda, and recruit new sympathizers. Every terrorist attack is similar to dramatic representation in which the internet is the stage.